As you know, that Thomas died a protracted death at St. Joseph's Abbey in Spencer. It was about it was a good long, 7 months, I think it was, before he was shipped back there. Uh, and when he finally died. And in the last month, he lived a full month longer than anybody expected him to live. And about 2 weeks before his death, he was basically lying in his bed, floating in and out of that state of consciousness, which is between the worlds. It would. It's not a coma from a medical point of view. Spiritual people know it well. Uh, and 2 weeks before his death, he sat up in bed, had had his attendant sort of prop him up in the bed, and delivered with his voice at first creaky and wheezy, but gaining strength, what was his final oracle to the world. Brother Eric Keeney grabbed his cell phone, recorded it, and later Eric and I transcribed it. And Eric read it at the first annual Thomas Keating seminar in Aspen, Colorado. And I think that it's worth listening to this. We cleaned it up just a little bit. You'll find the actual just as it came out of his mouth in my book when it's published. But this is what he said, and I think it behooves us to listen carefully because it sets the pace for where we are headed in the next generation, in this fragile and imperiled planet, whether we like it or not. From Thomas. Dear friends, in the universe, an extraordinary moment of civilization seems to be overtaking us. Through the great discoveries of science and spirituality, we find ourselves in essentially a new and different place than ever before in history. It is a time of enormous expectancy and possibility. We are called to start not with the old world contracts, now that we know they are all lies, but with what we know is the truth, as proved by science and silence. So I call upon the nations to consider this as a possibility, that we should begin a new world with one that actually exists. This is the moment to manifest this world by showing loving concern for poverty, loving appreciation for the needs of the world, and opportunities for accelerated development. We need to find ways to make these really happen. I make this humble suggestion that now arms making is of no significance in the world. It hinders its progress. This will allow and offer the world the marvelous gift of beginning, creating, of trusting each other, of forgiving each other, and of showing compassion, care for the poor, and putting all our trust in the God of heaven and earth. I leave this hope in your hands and hearts, coming as a real inspiration from the heart of God. What does he care about who has this or other lands when the power to begin with the truest history is coming from religion as an expression of the source that has been realized for centuries? Buddhism, Hinduism, Sufism, Indigenous and Christianity, Judaism, all religions. Oneness is their nature. Amen. To oneness.